Welcome to They Might Be Giants, podcast for kids.
All right, this is weird. This is Talk Radio, KABC 790. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Show, Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real workplace lawyer. That's the whole thing. Yeah, all right. So have you ever wondered what it's like to be judged? Us lawyers have to think about that a lot. I actually have. I have a judge in the studio. She was the judge in a famous case we've heard about. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce her now.
Order! Order! There must be order to this show.
That's weird. I've never seen a civil judge in California use a gavel.
I am a crazed lunatic judge. You drove me to it.
Your Honor, since I've been reconnected with Rhemus Helms, I haven't even been in your courtroom.
Rhemus Helms might be the most important man in Sun Valley and Fontana. And this thing might be found in most bedrooms across the continents, but he is the man who rode into my courtroom on a stallion, asbestos on my robe, lead paint in my lungs, the 50-year-old seats in the jury box wheelless. My plastic water pitchers at counsel's table galloped over.
I had nothing to do with the rogue jury you impaneled.
How can you say that? Each and every one of those miscreants was your creation.
I most certainly never fathered any of the jury panel stacked with Rhemus Helms and Machete ready to joust for foreperson status and Alexandria Twalia Caesar campaigning for the four people.
I order this show to stop at once.
You lack legal jurisdiction over the show. There's not a present case pending in your courtroom whether the show should remain on the air. Besides, the listeners of Southern California and beyond are eating it up on KABC 790 and whether they can find it on the internet, which is every sound sharing and audio file receptacle.
These days, I feel like those poor settlement judges banished to the old federal courthouse, sentenced to walk around robeless and courtroomless.
Or the old-time trailer judges in Van Nuys away from the main building that had its own wealth of asbestos, and after the earthquake, fragments escaped into the stagnant air of those trailers to forever be in the lungs of the bar and the litigants of the San Fernando Valley.
Asbestos, mesothelioma, toxic torts, and now employment cases. Employment lawsuits all day long. Disability discrimination, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, owed wages for 1, 2, 3, and paga. Uncollectible bad debts and in pro pers. Like, that crazed juror and the captain of industry in database management of sanitary napkins who single-handedly suggested Rhemus Helms and Machete duke it out for forepersonship.
Oh, yeah, that's the life of a judge these days. You should be glad you aren't in the PI courts.
Crazed jurors? I should be glad.
It's not every day the McDonald's girl is on a jury.
Her hair was of yarn, a bright red variety, but it was her normal hair, not a glued-on piece of No. 6 super bulky yarn.
Oh, consider yourself lucky. Not all employment trials have juries like that one. The one on the Santos Rosenstein versus Glickman controlled standby lawsuit we heard about on our earlier episode.
Summary judgment motions in employment cases, a stack of papers to the ceiling, and now all papers must be electronically filed. Look at my eyes.
That's weird. I think you're turning into a zombie.
Reading a 600-page, single-space separate statement of facts explaining why a defendant's motion for summary judgment should be denied. Denied!
Your Honor, you're having a meltdown. Stop waving your finger uncontrollably at me. Whoa, baseball? Yeah, I still wear blue. You want me to pitch a grape at that finger and see if you can swing? Oh, damn, you're good.
Home run.
Your Honor, stop running around the studio in your robe. You're liable to trip on all those microphone cords.
I bet you thought I couldn't do it. I was just swinging my finger like a mad judge, huh?
would you mind cleaning up the grape debris on the window of the sound engineer over there? It's a good thing she was busy with all those knobs and levers in there.
Why did you have to say that?
What? The sound engineer was adjusting all those knobs and levers in the sound room?
Oh, sound levers. Knobs in the sound room. Oh, heavens, I feel like spring in Mississippi again. Flowering dogwoods, pure scented, Dee's daughter gently falling like a genial giraffe, eating a damson plum off my full bottom wig, stroking time horse hairs with her tongue.
I think you stole one of the Star Sisters jokes.
Not the part about my wig and spring in Mississippi.
This conversation is not going the way I envisioned. I thought you would come on this show and we'd have a reverent repartee about California employment law.
Employment law. Fire all the employees and close down all the employers.
What about binding arbitration?
Do you think I'll have to arbitrate when I retire? Who are the good arbitrators? I won't be a good mediator and charge $10,000 or maybe even $15,000 to latch onto one or two pieces of evidence in a case and pretend that's all that matters. How much can I charge as an arbitrator? Mediators make more than arbitrators, don't they?
Your Honor, you're always considered a smart judge. I think you'd get picked a lot of times as an arbitrator. You shouldn't be tarnishing your reputation saying all these strange things on live air.
Live air? You told me this would be a confidential conversation.
Your Honor, you're talking into a microphone, going into hysterics, thinking about the sound person with the knobs and buttons.
I won't be judged by Wednesday.
You're retiring? You're not even 60.
There are 20 appellate court justices and 8 superior court justices on the Los Angeles County ballot, and my name isn't on there.
How could have that happened?
I'm not even a real judge. I don't even exist.
Yeah, like I said before, all of our existences are pretty tenuous, but you are very much here.
That crazy Alexandria Twalia Caesar is still mad at her campaign for foreperson because it was a no-go. Didn't pass go, no $200. She campaigned to have my name come off the ballot for re-election.
Did she actually win something to do with an election? Last time I heard, she was in a one-woman against one-man race for assistant dope fixer in Hellhole Palms, California.
Look at this official sample ballot. Do you see my name in this sea of judges running?
Oh, I can't say that I do. Have you heard of the fixer?
Yeah.
Could he fix the ballot for you?
Yes. Mr. Gerber, are you suggesting ballot fraud?
No, just get your name back on the ballot where it belongs.
I am all washed up. My career is over after that last trial. That stupid database of sanitary napkins the plaintiff's lawyer spent 2 hours voir direing chapstick on and asking if he thought he could bring change to dictatorships because he had the database, and he had the database, and look what was on the news. At least the show last week, Chapstick was meeting with the leader of North Korea and who realized he had to reunite with the South because they had the database. I mean, really? They had that stupid database that tracked every sanitary napkin in the world. What an utter waste of money, of human effort.
Judge Beezu, I don't know what's gotten into you. You had such a fine legal career prosecuting gang crimes, mostly involving modems, stolen hardware, and symbol monkeys. That was before you moved into private practice at that big firm where they made you represent Aiden and Elvira because, well, hell, what would a judge think of an adult toy company represented by a man?
Imagine a girl like me sending all those rival modem gangs of the Lemur brothers to federal prison on RICO charges. The state prosecutors could never get them on goldfish murder or threats to inflict great bodily injury. They would not carry out against an organized outfit like the Lemur brothers.
You never prosecuted any modem studs. The scene was almost dead by the time you got admitted to the bar.
What do you know about the murder in the West Virginia prison? They call it Misery Mountain.
I heard the mob considered Whitey Bulger a snitch. I guess they caught up with him in Misery Mountain.
This is off the record, but do you think that modem gang you shut down, say, circa 1983, conspiracy, put out the hit on Bulger to make them seem relevant, to get them into the news again?
Your Honor, the members of conspiracy went on to become lawyers, substance abusers, and failures. I hardly think they're hoping to regain their stature 35 years later.
I was just wondering.
You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio, KABC 790. I'm Karl Gerber. If you want to call about a wrongful termination, sexual harassment, your owed wages, please call me at the office at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700 for a real employment lawyer, not fictional one like Dombass. 877-525-0700. When we come back, we're going to find out what this judge is going to say on my show.
Oh no, set me free. I know my soul.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-445-6363. That's 800-445-6363. 800-445-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 1313 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 1313.
The natural habitat of a creepy doll is a horror movie. It can't help being creepy. It's that small, fixed smile and those never-closing eyes, always watching you, plotting, which you're imagining. It's mindless. But when the creepy doll hears that Geico not only saves people money, but also gives them easy access to emergency roadside service through an award-winning app, it knows you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. The only question is, how did the creepy doll move from the bedroom to the hallway? I would get out of the house.
Talk Talk Radio, KABC 790. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and that's definitely my problem. And I'm thinking about getting some life insurance to cover a hit that might be out of me from all those modem gangs 35 years ago when we were pirating games. Well, anyway, we've got Judge Beezu here, so I kind of want to get back to that. Your Honor, you're talking about leaving, you're batting grapes with your finger. It's a little weird, but I'm wondering, what about your private practice before you were judge? Was that just dull corporate work you did?
Oh, imagine me in 1995 in my blue Donna Karan suit watching Rhemus Helms sign a $200.3 million settlement agreement. The man, the myth, the thing, Aiden and Elvira could never convince any jury they didn't infringe. The thing 90% of the population had seen or experienced.
I think that settlement was a bit inflated, wasn't it?
Aiden and Elvira hadn't made a quarter of that, nor would have they have. Was it wrong for me to have thrown Rhemus Helms a bone? No, I shouldn't have said that. Not the best choice of words.
I can't believe you inflated that settlement just because it was Rhemus Helms.
He said you represented him.
I wasn't even a lawyer for 2 years when he settled that lawsuit. Besides, I'm an employment lawyer.
I did some fact-checking and found out you were really Captain Lemur Eyes, who was really Fast Eddie, who was really Descartes Shark before he was Fast Eddie. I wasn't going to mess around with a sis-op of the speakeasy.
This is absolutely insane.
What is absolutely insane, I'll tell you. All of the characters from the show who were not the litigants, or that Dombass excuse for a lawyer in my courtroom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The other one who says sorry. Oh, God, don't bring me back.
I still don't know why I wasn't invited to the party. I mean, jury trial.
I'd done 99 jury trials as a judge in that particular courtroom. That was my last.
Do you feel that you can get past the Santos Rosenstein versus Glickman mistrial?
Oh, how do you suggest I do a thing like that?
Let's try a little exercise. No, don't jump up and down in your robe.
I know. Put your hand on the left side of your head, apply all the strength in your hand possible, and see if your head can push your hand away.
Your Honor, seriously, a demented elementary school principal made that suggestion the day it was raining in the auditorium. BTW, he had a JD, presumably never passed the bar, and insisted that he be called a doctor.
What a fool.
Let's try it my way.
Counsel, this isn't Burger King.
Whatever. Close your eyes and tell me what you're thinking.
That dumb defense lawyer picking a fight with the other side's court reporter. Telling her his reporter was faster. The court reporter threw a roll of paper at his bald head, and he bled profusely. He threatened to sue. Starlight walks into the courtroom, and at that exact moment from the morning break, sees it, says she's twinkling out of there, and she disappears.
Where did she go?
She vanished. It wasn't natural. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Let's try another.
Please, no. Your turn.
All right. It's the early days of the red sandstone Los Angeles courthouse located on the southeast corner of Temple and Broadway. It's the 80s. Major Horace Bell is pleading a case of quantum merit for a Chinese immigrant who was ruthlessly not paid a single cent for the month he cooked and cleaned for the wealthy ex-southerner, an officer living high on the hill. That's Bunker Hill. Eugenio Plummer is translating, and the jury is busy carving and whittling the juror benches with their pocket knives.
And that makes me think of Rhemus Helms from the jury box, sketching caricatures of whoever was the unfortunate soul enough to be in the courtroom. But every character was out of Tom of Finland.
Maybe if you tell the whole story of that trial and get it off your chest, sort of like in therapy, you can begin the road of recovery.
I'm not ready for something like that yet.
This is muy mal.
Mr. Gerber, you are familiar with the 14th Amendment, are you not?
Your Honor, the 14th Amendment is why I became a discrimination lawyer. It's why I went to law school. Why I heard the words of the greatest orator of all, Martin Luther King Jr., and I knew there was a higher calling than the mighty dollar.
Good. That's what I thought. What does the 14th Amendment say?
All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the state they live in, and the United States, and no state shall make or enforce any law which shall stop those people from enjoying the privileges of the United States. And no state or this country shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor, and this is very important for a discrimination lawyer, nobody will be denied equal protection under the law.
How riled up would you be if I told you the 14th Amendment from 1868 was being abolished?
Whoa, that would be un-American. Every sense of justice that I know and that I've worked for would be destroyed.
Precisely. Just like my courtroom. Just like the sense of order and rules that exist in the United States, in jury trials in the United States, such as two brothers shall not be on the same jury, two sisters shall not be on that jury, a husband of the sister shall not be on the same jury, the litigants shall not each know each member of the jury personally, have a husband who works for somebody running for foreperson. The list goes on.
All right, try this. What's the most important thing about being a judge?
Being fair and impartial.
Now, in legal terms, what does that mean?
Due process.
Which is in the 14th Amendment, right?
Of course. When we are trained to be judges, we are trained that due process is the most fundamental aspect of justice. Without proper notice, nothing happens in the legal system. Without proper service, no lawsuit starts and no motion can be heard.
Notice, an opportunity to have a fair trial, the case to be decided based upon existing rules. Administrative agencies must go through proper processes if they want to rule make. The list goes on.
Due process, the cornerstone of justice.
Equal protection, the twin brother of due process, the right to all privileges and immunities regardless of race, color, age, disability.
Without due process, it is a kangaroo court. Justice, as Americans know it, cannot exist without due process. My sacrosanct.
Yes, a place where the jury is packed with cronies. Jurors decide who will be foreperson by their ability to joust, where decisions are made arbitrarily against the state of the law.
Oh, boy. Not boy, I meant gender neutrality.
Without judges like Judge Beezu, how is the legal system to continue functioning?
Due process. I must afford all litigants the right of due process. The litigants from both sides of the case must be afforded the opportunity to challenge me to finger batting.
That's right, Judge Beezu. You got to get back to the courtroom, even if it's a temporary courtroom.
I've got a story for you. There was once a case against a lawyer. The client's husband sent pictures of her in a wheelchair, smiling at Dodger Stadium. They will come back in 2019. The picture was supposed to demonstrate his wife's fragility.
Was this like an improper case?
Oh, I'd say not so much that the husband was representing himself. Rather, he was illegally trying to represent his wife.
It's unethical to take the direction from a controlling party such as a spouse.
Yes! The husband claimed his wife was brought to a fake mediation.
I like this. Was there a park bench, fake grass, and pavers in the living room with a television that was washed out? All the color was washed out, and it presented itself in black and white.
The husband claimed the mediator was an actor, and the mediation facility was a set.
What was the purpose of this getup?
Presumably, this setting created an environment for an unfair settlement.
What bothers me is, are the people who make these claims and sue their lawyers really thinking any of this?
Oh, I doubt it. It's all about money.
How much money did that lady settle for at the fake mediation?
Something like $60,000 on a case that had no value and would not have been won.
And for unknown reasons, her lawyer had to create a fake mediation in order to get her substantially more than her case was worth.
And presumably the corrupt lawyer on the other side decided it was worth conspiring with the lady's lawyer at the risk of being disbarred to overpay by 10 times on the claim.
Ludicrous.
That's what I decided.
You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I am Karl Gerber. You should call me about real cases of employment discrimination, whether it's pregnancy, race, disability, age, or wrongful termination. Call 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. 877-525-0700 for a real lawyer, which is me and my law firm. And you should get caught up on this show by going to workplacelawyer.org if you're not already streaming and seeing all those episodes, because we're talking about a lot of characters from this show. We're talking about the famous trial with Rosa Santos and Miss Glickman. So, Dombass and the mistrial and Rhemus Helms. So tune in.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a results-oriented law firm whose goal is to get the client what they deserve. They've represented thousands of California employees who've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or were owed wages on an individualized or group basis, such as a class action. They have a high rate of success. There are few situations involving employment law that they have not confronted. At the forefront of employee rights, they're often the first employee law firm to confront a new legal issue. For an experienced employment lawyer, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, read more about the firm at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Make your work problem theirs to solve.
Talk Radio 790, KABC News Update. I'm Steve Cumming. President Trump is campaigning with conservative commentators Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity in Missouri tomorrow for his last rally before the midterm elections. Musician Lee Greenwood will also make an appearance at the rally in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Fox News says Hannity will be hosting his show from the event and will be interviewing Trump, but it's unclear what his role in the rally will be. A North Carolina white woman is turning herself into police after harassing two black women as they waited for roadside assistance. In a viral video, 51-year-old Susan Westwood is seen in a seemingly drunken racist rant against the pair while they were calmly waiting by their car. After the video went viral, Westwood was fired from her job and a warrant was issued for her arrest. KABC SoCal weather, mostly clear this evening, then areas of low clouds and fog overnight with lows around 60. More news coming up in 30 minutes, continuing coverage at KABC.com. I'm Steve Cumming, Talk Radio 790, KABC News.
What can an actor teach an attorney? Well, this weekend on Champions of Justice, Tom Girardi talks with Katherine James and Alan Blumenfeld, veteran film and TV actors, about their 38-year career of teaching attorneys how to be more effective communicators, all with the aim of establishing justice. It's a fascinating hour with two very interesting storytellers. Tune in Champions of Justice, Saturday morning at 11 and Sunday night at 10 here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Chef Jamie Gwen here. Join me every Sunday for delicious conversation. You'll hear from celebrity chefs, Food Network stars, authors, artisans, and wine and travel authorities. Each week brings a new culinary experience. So join me at the table on Sundays at 12 noon right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Save your cash with Connecta. Earn 2.75% on your money with a 15-month certificate. That's 2.75% APY for 15 months. Becoming a member of Connecta Federal Credit Union is so easy. Save with Connecta. Open your certificate at Connecta.org. That's Connecta.org. Local banking for 80 years. APY is annual percentage yield minimum of $1,000 to open a certificate. Connecta is federally insured by NCUA. Are you looking for an alternative to drug and alcohol rehabilitation that allows you to recover in the privacy of your own home with an individualized program? The Key Light Company's Concierge Detox LA can be that alternative. Headed by Dr. Damon Raskin, addiction specialist, and clinical psychologist Dr. Howard Glass, Concierge Detox LA can meet your recovery needs. For more information, contact Concierge Detox LA at 323-935-9712. That's 323-935-9712.
Talk Radio, KBC 790. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real workplace lawyer. We're talking to a judge of the Superior Court, a fictional one, of course, because she presided over a trial we heard about on this show. I'm trying to help Judge Beezu get her sanity back after that crazy mistrial where Rhemus Helms and Machete rode into the courtroom on horses. Oh, well, so are you ready to now talk freely about your experiences as the judge in that certain mistrial?
Would there be Title VII without the 14th Amendment?
No, the legislature declared the ramifications from the days of slavery that ended 99 years earlier were the reason why the United States needed Title VII.
99 years of segregation, lack of voting rights, different senses of justice, and 30 to 40 years of employment discrimination followed by sex discrimination, age discrimination, disability discrimination after Title VII was passed in 1964.
This is why so many people call me at 877-525-0700 for legal representation against their employers. Why 877-525-0700 rings 50 times some days with calls of disability discrimination and sexual harassment. Why 877-525-0700 is said on the show. Actually, why is it said?
We can't get into that right now.
Yeah, it's important the users of the system, listeners, know about their resources. Imagine if the phone rings 200 times one day with new client callers.
Well, yes, but that's the Trump administration trying to put you out of business. Drive your call takers and attorneys crazy.
We've been so deep in the trenches of ludicrous new client callers, mad judges, and disreputable defense counsel, I think we'd drive the intruders sinking into the depths of the ground.
Hopefully not finding themselves on top of an angry skinlet.
BTW, I heard Tanita Gravita I finally had her baby.
That was one nut who wasn't on my jury. But her co-worker, Machete Dogma, sure was.
Get this. Tanita Gravita I birthed a healthy human.
So she didn't have a skinlet after all.
Yeah, but there was something kind of weird.
There always is on this show.
Tanita Gravita I's son was born 11 years old.
I knew it. Oh, she kept the love child of Bernie Madoff in hiding for 11 years until the world forgot about losing all of their savings in the market meltdown of 2008.
No, she kept him in that Velcro contraption attached to her stomach.
Oh, that's good. Neuro massage at Dumas's office. Oh, that is good. Neuro massage at Dumas's office.
Yeah, I'm not really finding this that funny or getting the connection. But on a brighter note, are you ready to start dissecting the jury trial of your life?
Let's do it. Why don't we do it in the road? Why don't we do it in the road? No one will be watching us. Why don't we do it in the road?
I'd rather we stay here and go through this on live air.
It started out with endless motions.
How many?
Dumas challenged the complaint with a demurrer and motion to strike. I granted the motion to strike insofar as 3 words should come out. I did it just to make it look like I was fair.
Well, that's ridiculous. If there was no basis for striking the lawsuit, why strike 3 words?
I think they were typos.
Okay, what happened next?
Dumas brought another motion to strike, and demurrer, notwithstanding the fact I overruled his legal arguments on the same complaint that existed earlier, without the 3 words. Of course, Santos Rosenstein's lawyer filed a motion for sanctions under 128.7. At the time, I figured Dombass was just dumb and didn't bring the improper successive motion, demur and motion to strike merely to harass and annoy, which I now know I'm sure he did.
Were there any discovery fights?
Wars. Dombass filled 1,000 pages of objections to 3 interrogatories asking for the names and addresses of witnesses and the dates of Santos's employment.
This is a nightmare. I'm not sure I want to hear anymore.
You started this, you're going to hear it all.
All right, how big was the court file with all those motions?
Before or after trial? Before or after summary judgment, 1, 2, 3, et al.
Okay, before summary judgment.
2 file cabinets.
After summary judgment.
The first motion and op was about 4 boxes, I'd say.
How could it be so long?
Dombass failed to cite any of the relevant law in his moving papers. Due process requires a motion cannot be granted if the moving papers fail to put the other side on notice. What the legal argument was!
Well, if that's the case, what happened? I think we know, though.
You've done it. The lawyer for the employee had to set forth the entire history of the law and all cases relative to the causes of action in the lawsuit. He wasn't going to take any chances that Dombass's vague papers would be granted by a judge who didn't care about due process, and the fact Dombass didn't bother to explain what was defective about the plaintiff's claims.
I hate to ask, but we lawyers, we call summary judgment SJs. How long was the SJ opposition?
The opposition had a 600-page separate statement because Dombass failed to cite any relevant facts in his separate statement. The opposition to the separate statement of material facts in support of the motion was 2,000 pages. The objections were about 10 pages for each fact. The evidence in opposition to the facts were around 100 pages each.
I think it's irresponsible to file a summary judgment motion based upon disputed facts. Courts cannot throw out cases that turn on disputed facts.
Summary judgment was intended to provide a fast end to an entire lawsuit or a legal theory in a case. It is anything but fast.
In all fairness, though, it takes 2 weeks of full-time work, if not 4, to oppose a summary judgment motion. Before the 75-day rule about the hearing after service of that motion, I had issues. Once a judge refused to give me extra time, more than that 2-week opposition period, when I had a real bad allergic reaction on my arm, and the judge died shortly after that. I'm not making this up.
I heard about the federal service you got after sundown on Yom Kippur.
Oh, God, that was unethical. In federal court, you can end up with a week to oppose a summary judgment motion. The defense lawyer probably timed the whole thing. He served my office after sundown when we were closed on Yom Kippur, which made us have, I think, less than a week to oppose his motion. His process server claimed people were in the office, moving around and avoiding service. It was our cleaning crew. The judge didn't care, and she died shortly after that, and that's also true.
Summary judgments are often brought in employment cases. One federal study suggested that happens almost 35% of the time.
Because I have a lot of strong cases, and I try not to use laws that never apply in a situation. I do have some lawyers telling me they're not going to bring a summary judgment motion. Some bring one anyway, and they lose the whole thing.
In your 24-hour days of working, what statistics on summary judgment have you seen?
The statistics I'd read they're federal. Only 70% of those whopper papers are granted for summary judgment and completely get rid of the case. Less than 20% of summary judgment is granted as summary adjudication, where some aspect of the case gets dismissed before a jury trial.
A summary judgment and adjudication is granted less frequently in California state court than in federal court.
In the California courts, a lot of summary judgments are overturned on appeal.
Well, that's another issue.
Yeah, it costs up to $200,000 an employee lawyer time to oppose one of those motions, which we only can try to get paid if we win the trial, and it has an attorney fee element where the other side have to pay the attorney fees. Otherwise, this is $200,000 in attorney time in a case with a fee of, $30,000, $40,000, maybe $60,000 for the whole case.
Do you like working for minimum wage when you work on a contingency and then the client asks you why your percent is so high? At my firm, we only bill clients like Aiden and Elvira by the hour.
Well, defense bar sometimes thinks it's malpractice if they don't bring a summary judgment motion. I see a lot of dishonesty in claims about fees for bringing motions, but I highly doubt these defense firms file summary judgment motions for only $30,000. And if they do a decent reply to the opposition because of the employee lawyer did a good opposition, there's no way they're going to do that for less than $30,000 or $20,000.
Justice is costly.
I'd like to know what happened after the summary judgment phase on that weird trial with that Santos Rosenstein versus Glickman thing. I want to know what happened in that loony trial, and we're going to have to find out about that when we come back. We've heard bits and pieces about it on this show. I just don't think I've ever been involved in a trial like that one, and this judge went crazy afterwards. So. I want to know what happened. I've got to get all the details, and I hope Judge Beezu is sane enough to recount those facts, given we heard about that trial. So you've been listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio KABC 790.
You're the judge. Oh no, set me free. You're the judge.
The Employment Lawyers Group is a results-driven law firm whose goal is to get the right result for the client. They have represented employees with a high rate of success since 1993 throughout the state of California. They're only paid and if they are able to collect money from the employer, so there's not any upfront fees or costs in order to hire them. They have represented thousands of employees who've been terminated from their jobs, sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or are owed wages in an individualized or group basis such as a class action. Call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have operators standing by. They can also be reached at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Hire them and make your workplace problem theirs to solve.
The hard truth is that our nation is divided, wounded, and angry. Where is the voice of reason? Tune into A Nation Divided, discussing issues that divide us and how they affect our civil rights. A Nation Divided with Brian Dunn, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Hey, what's going on around your house? Need a little help? A second opinion? Well, I'm here to help answer any questions you have about your home. All you have to do is call. Join me, Lou Manfredini, every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on House Smarts Radio, right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Visiting Angels is America's choice in senior home care. We believe your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels provides personal home care up to 24 hours per day, including meals and light housework. Ask about our dementia care at home. You'll select your professional caregiver. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
This is a court-ordered notice. Current and former Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury owners or lessees can receive payments and other benefits from a legal settlement related to allegedly defective Takata airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to autoairbagsettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's autoairbagsettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
Talk Radio, KABC 790. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I'm Karl Gerber. We're back to our conversation with the judge who went mad after a trial in which Rhemus Helms was jousting to be the foreperson. So what happened after the summary judgment phase? It didn't end any part of the case short of trial, Judge.
Well, there were several summary judgments and several separate summary adjudication motions. A few motions for reconsideration, which were not based upon new or different facts.
How was your mental state by the end of all those 437C motions?
Excuse me, I have to make an important call.
We're right in the middle of a live show.
Prozac. What? I am out of refills? It's been a whole week since I picked up the quantity of 100. Refill my prescription already. That's an order.
Your Honor, you need to detox.
Excuse me. I am calling the other pharmacy.
I hope we're not trying to refill your prescription for edibles. Shows you how much I know about that industry. Maybe you don't need a prescription for edibles anymore in lovely California, where the rate of driving under the influence has risen steadily.
Paxo, can't you give me a courtesy 5 to 10 pills to get me through until tomorrow?
She's calling these pharmacies.
What do you mean?
You gotta lay off that stuff. Some holistic help, maybe. Like I was saying, the rate of driving under the influence went up steadily in the state of Washington to a third more arrests in a 3-year period after they legalized marijuana.
Mad mothers against drunk drivers. I hate DUI trials, the plea deals, the incarceration of first-time offenders for an hour, or during processing, the same defenses over and over and over.
I felt you were doing better. We were able to discuss the Santos versus Glickman trial until you laughed, maybe thinking about the summary judgment and summary adjudication motions where the same losing arguments were repeated again and again. And then Dombass asked you to reconsider your rulings when he was not asking you to do so based upon new evidence or a sudden change in the law.
Béarnaise sauce, the conundrum of cooking, tarragon flavored. So-called France's sauce, made from clarified butter, vinegar, shallots, egg yolks, and herbs, usually served to non-vegetarians with steak.
Monkey gland sauce, chiefly vegetarian, chutney, Worcester sauce, mustard, wine, ginger, and garlic.
Béarnaise sauce is made in a bain-marie, a glass bowl over a pan of boiling water for all you neophytes. It mustn't get too hot or the eggs will scramble. And who wants scrambled eggs in Béarnaise sauce?
Lotsman tip. Never dig a hole larger than you need without a plate compactor. It's unlikely you'll be able to compact the dirt to an acceptable amount of pounds per square inch, otherwise known as PSI.
For best results, soften chopped shallots and garlic in butter. Add peppercorns. Real ones, not merely a trifling-sized unit of nothingness. Fresh tarragon and a donut dash of white wine vinegar. Take off the heat and stir in 2 tablespoons of creme fraiche. Have you ever cooked Béarnaise sauce? Huh?
Back to the trial. Was there really a visual shown in the Santos Rosenstein's lawyer opening statement?
I think there might have been something.
Yes, but did you actually see it?
What was it?
I'd like to know what it was.
I can't quite remember. God, what was? Oh God, it.
I'm starting to wonder if the visual was a traumatic image that makes the viewer go into an lawyer-like speech.
What I do recall about the opening statement is the employee's lawyer outlined the facts. Objections were sustained quite a few times to defense counsel Dombass's arguments, which were entirely inappropriate for an opening statement. I also recall he made a number of claims about what the evidence would show, which it never did.
What were those claims?
Rosa Santos Rosenstein was unhappy in her marriage because her husband worked for Rhemus Helms. He beat codfish to death in order to get their dorsals, so she purposefully worked when not asked to work.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any marital problems in that relationship. I'm the one who scripts those characters.
The visual plaintiff's lawyer showed usually those things. Oh God, they have an effect. Oh God, how do I explain this? This particular visual. Yes! That explains the nature of the visual.
I'm glad we finally got a read on that visual. I hate to ask, but were there exhibits of plaintiff's counsel along the same lines? We better not talk about those, or listeners might think we are two members of the state bar who don't speak well.
Thank you. Thank you with a cactus embedded in loamy soil. Does that sound like Starlight? Oh, that woman was annoying. As you know, jurors are allowed to ask questions in my courtroom if they submit them in writing, and counsel stipulates to allow the questions to be read to the jury.
I can't imagine counsel stipulated to anything in that particular trial with Dombass.
I was rather surprised myself, especially due to the nature of the juror questioned by Starlight.
I hate to ask, but what was her question?
She wanted to know if the water in the pitchers on counsel's table, you know, the pitchers the horses destroyed, she wanted to know if the water was purified, merely distilled, or tap water.
Your Honor, that question does not provide the trier of fact with evidence germane to the case.
Counsel, by that time, I had lost it. I allowed the question, and so did the two lawyers.
Everyone knows that the water in those pitchers comes from the 6-year-old drinking fountains or the sink in the bathroom in the jury room. You think I ever drank that water? Ha!
Dombass kept serving copious amounts of pitcher water to Lisa Glickman and her lawyer.
Did Lisa Glickman drink any of it?
Of course not. From the audience, her husband handed her $12 bottles of Aqua Deco.
Real smart move on Lisa's part, making the jury think she was special and rich enough to pay any judgment.
I had to admonish Ms. Dogma to turn off her doggy cams.
Yikes, was she paying attention to the trial?
Of course not. And the cams had sound.
Yeah, we had one juror watching a doggy cam with sound, another making caricatures, an exhibit, an opening. Nobody can describe. Sounds like a lively trial.
That woman, Cindy D., was making sensual facial expressions. And did you know Starlight writes with her mouth?
I'm starting to get the vibe of this experience.
No, you are not. The most god-awful piano music was playing whenever we were not in session.
PJBC III, I presume.
The sheriffs who work in the building had to tell him to knock it off quite a few times. He was also caught doing skateboard stunts over the concrete benches in the hallway.
I'm surprised he didn't use the escalators for stunts.
Before or after Rhemus Helms and Molly Machete rode their horses down the escalators.
How did Molly Machete act during trial?
Well, as you know, I provide steno notebooks to each juror so they can take notes. She went through 114 steno books before closing argument. Given the court's budget, jurors in the next 12 cases had to write on scrap paper left over from an unnecessary copy of an opposition to summary judgment.
Your Honor, I hate to ask, but how was your behavior in the trial? Excuse me, but you're doing that finger thing again, and I'm pitching grapes at your shaking finger.
I only played grape ball on breaks.
Excuse me for asking, but do you think the horses might have skidded on the grapes when they rode triumphantly into your courtroom before Rhemus Helms and Molly Machete were going to joust?
Mr. Gerber, my courtroom attendant cleaned up each and every grape before any jurors came back to the courtroom. Now, as for counsel and messengers, that's another story.
How many times would you say you bat in the average day on the bench?
My batting average for appeals is I am only appealed maybe 5 times a year out of 300 orders. In terms of grape ball, I try to hit 30 to 50 times during the workday before court is dismissed for the day between 4 and 4:30.
Do you bat grapes with seeds or only without?
Both.
Do you play grape ball on and off season?
Grape ball is played all year long.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of grape ball, I was wondering if you bat all types of grapes or aim at batting just bargain price grapes. For instance, I've read about expensive Japanese grapes the size of ping pong balls. They got about $3.60 for a grape. They have very high sugar content.
I do not discriminate against grapes on the basis of their cost or the fact they have seeds.
Ladies, gentlemen, chongas, and the rest of my listeners, now you've heard from Judge Beezu on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, where we try to educate the audience on legal issues relating to employment law with absurd stories. And this has been an absurd story, and you've learned about summary judgment motions that can throw out employment cases and things like that. So if you have a real employment case, please call me off air at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700 for a real employment case. And I think you really have learned a lot. There are a lot of judges out there with quirky characteristics. Not all of them bat grapes with their fingers, but they do weird things, and they screw up cases, and so do jurors. And cases can be boring, and visuals can be hard to see, and the lawyers are projecting them up, and no one can see them. So tune in next week to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. Same time, same place on this station. Thanks for listening.
Good reason, so please take me.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers.